Brought to you by Hug House Productions.
Hi, hello, listener of NOWVERMORPH. If you like this show, I am convinced you are going to love The Newest Olympian by Mike Schubert. Why am I so certain? Because that's one of the shows that inspired this show. Real ones who listen to the credits already know. Each week, Mike dives into the Percy Jackson series, which I love, joined by guests who are longtime fans of the Rick Riordan series. If you haven't read these books yet, this is the perfect way to get started and read along with Mike. They're so good. And like Animorphs, they're kids' books that touch on way more serious topics than you might expect. And they're about worldwide mythologies, starting with Greek and Roman. I know you gays love mythology. If you have already read the books and know how good they are, you'll love this series too. The dramatic irony, man. And if you know about the books from the Disney Plus series, Mike has done interviews and conversations with some of the cast of the show on The Newest Olympian too. Mike is a great host, a great editor, and obviously a huge inspiration for me. You can find The Newest Olympian in the show notes or wherever you get your podcasts. Go subscribe right now and enjoy. Hi again. Welcome to episode 1.5, in which we talk about the rest of the first Animorphs book, The Stranger. If you haven't listened to the first episode yet, definitely go do that. NOWVERMORPH is a podcast in which I read every single book in the Animorphs series for the first time and then discuss it with a hardcore Animorphs fan. This is a podcast about a book series for kids, but I am very much an adult, and the show is made for adult audiences. You can find bonus audio, including this full conversation and my rolling document of predictions on our Patreon, patreon.com/hughousepodz. My guest this week is again my dear friend Leigh Pfeffer of the podcast History is Gay. Links to the podcast and some favorite episodes in the show notes as before. Let's dive right in. So they go to this beach bonfire hosted by the Sharing that Tom has invited them to.
Everyone's extremely normal.
Yeah, totally normal. Jake seems pretty like he buys into the normalcy for quite a while. Everyone seems super chill. Everyone's having a good time. Tobias is notably not there with them. He is a hawk overhead. He is like kind of patrolling from above. And just as Jake is like, okay, like this seems normal, this seems fine, Tom comes over and talks to Jake and is talking about like, hey, this is all fine, but the real fun is when you become an official member, not just like a new member or an honorary member, an official member. And Tom glitches out. He has this like momentary, they talk about it almost being like a micro expression.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake clocks it immediately. He knows that Tom's body is rebelling against the yerk in his head to warn Jake not to become an official member for the love of fuck. And Jake gets it. He knows it. And at this point, even Marco is like, never mind, they're normal. Maybe the Sharing is fine. But Jake knows what he saw.
Yeah. That's the moment it really clicks there for him.
So fucking sad.
Right? Oh, so good.
I also really like that, like, Jake does not continue pushing himself into denial.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once he has the facts and he has the evidence, he actually is pretty quick to be like, oh my God, it's true. You know, like, I think that that's also a mark of a good leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the group coalesces again at this beach, and they all are like, something is fucking weird here. Marco, who had been like, oh, this is normal, these people are cool, this is fine, he changes his tune pretty fast, which was surprising to me. He gets like really on the same page as the others.
All I needed was a barbecue. He's like, oh, fuck yeah, ribs?
Yeah, straight up.
Just hungry boys, like, oh, this is great. Never mind.
This is what I mean about him being pretty reactionary.
He's absolutely Sokka.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh my God. Like, I don't know, he seems like he
has, again, like some feelings that are set in stone, but others, he's pretty easy to sway.
Yeah.
Cassie has clocked this shit so fast. She already is like, no, this is bad. This is not good. And Rachel seems like a little bit more balanced, analytical, which is what I have come to expect from Rachel. Is she keeps things pretty internal and seems very like logic driven here. And meanwhile, Tobias is like still up in the air, and he does not want to turn back into a human. He just wants to stay as a hawk. He's like chilling out. He's listening, and he's like, yeah, for sure, for sure. Anyway, it's hawk time. And Jake is like, bruh, it's been over an hour. Like, you need to human now. And Tobias does not want that.
So I have a line.
Yes. Oh my god.
Should I give it to you right now, or should we wait until the end?
No. Give it.
So Tobias trans feels happen already. Like, you know, we have a line, like we have a passage earlier when Tobias comes to Jake's house and is like, "Sup, I'm a red-tailed hawk," and you know, Jake's like, "Hey man, your life is pretty shitty. Like, remember, don't stay in that for longer than 2 hours." He's like, yeah, sure. Literally this moment where, you know, Jake is like, "Dude, you gotta morph back." He's sitting here like, "Well, but I can't. There's a little problem. I don't have any clothes. Oh, that would be embarrassing."
Oh, that's right.
And they're like, "We've got clothes for you in a backpack. It's fine. Just change." And he literally, in the passage is just, "I hate changing back. It's like going back into a prison or something. I hate it."
Oh my god, that's right.
I hate it when I don't have wings.
Yeah.
If that's not some gender fucking feels right off the goddamn bat, I don't know what is. It seems to be more than just about escaping his dysfunctional home life. You know?
Yes.
There's something inherently about his discomfort with himself and his abilities and his lack of freedom and his lack of being able to express himself the way that he wants to be able to as a human, as this like nerdy human outsider kid.
And the Applegates, they have a trans kid? Is that right?
They have a trans daughter.
Oh.
Suck on that, Turfy McWizard face.
Yeah, get fucked.
Get fucked. If you're looking for a beloved children's series that doesn't have a TERF as an author, may I recommend to you Animorphs.
Fuck yeah. Also, again, Percy Jackson. Please go listen to The Newest Olympian. If you haven't yet, this podcast would not exist without it. We love Rick Riordan. He is a good boy.
So good. Good boy.
So while we're at this bonfire, Jake knows that the official members of the sharing are going off to do their own little meeting at the bonfire away from everybody else. They want to capitalize on this moment, so Jake morphs into Homer to go spy on their meeting because, like, no one's gonna, like, if they see Jake, that's gonna be bad, but, like, nobody's gonna freak out about a dog on a beach fucking around. Like, it's a dog. So Jake morphs, and he goes over there. He sees Tom there, and he sees Assistant Principal Chapman, who is going to become a huge figure in these first two books. I consistently think of him in my head as Chalmers, like from The Simpsons. That is not his name. He is a controller, and he seems to be in charge of the sharing.
I do love that it's starting off with this like very silly trope of like, you know, what's an elementary or junior high school kid's biggest enemy? The principal. Like, it's fantastic. It's one of those things that kind of draws you back into the fact that like, oh, these books are really elegant and really sophisticated and really fucking dark. And also they are still very much rooted in being kids' books.
Yes, but then, man, we'll get to this in book 2, but the way that they justify this in the canon is brilliant. But totally, this is like so stereotypical 90s books for kids. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
So they're in this meeting for the official members, and they're openly talking about Visser 3, which seems very foolish. But they are listening in, and Tom, controller, fully says, like, yeah, I think that Jake was one of the kids at the construction site, so I brought him here so they could either take him or kill him. And Jake is fucked up by this, obviously. And the way that he responds to being fucked up by hearing that his brother, first off, is absolutely a controller and also brought him here for the purpose of killing him or capturing him, the way that he reacts is to just go be a dog for a while. Like, that's, of course.
Dissociating.
Of course. Literally dissociating.
Baby.
Yeah, and he is like, I'm just gonna go frolic and, like, smell things. Like, run around on the beach. That's so sad. And so real. And I love that Jake knows what the stakes are here, and he understands that this is extremely important information. And even still, he's like, I can't handle this. I have to go. I think that that's also really sophisticated. And again, like, God, Jake is such an interesting character. Like, I love that he understands, like, he knows that he's just not capable of engaging with any more of this information right now, that he needs a break, that he leaves. Like, this is precious time he is effectively wasting, but I love that he does it, and I love that the narrative allows him to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He engages in dog time for a little bit, and then he comes back, and he's like, okay, we gotta listen. So after his break, he comes back, and they're talking about the Yerk pool schedule. So they're saying, like, yeah, I gotta go back to the Yerk pool on the Monday because of a hungry. Ooh. And he's like, cool.
Yerk water cooler conversations.
Yeah. Cassie comes to check in on him. He overhears this. She was stopped by a cop who's like, hey, you kids, what are you doing around here? Very, like, over the garden wall cop. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm at a beach. I'm hanging out. I was looking for a dog. Sorry. So he hears this and he thinks, okay, well, that's a signal. He returns to the group. He morphs back into a human, tells them what he saw. They had said that they won't try to kill him tonight because they don't want to attract attention at one of these big meetings for the sharing. Like, that's not a good look.
Right. We want people to show up to these and get lured in.
Right. And, like, a pretty big deterrent for most people, I would assume, is, like, a child was murdered.
Right. Yeah.
So Marco continues to insist they don't pursue any of this. And they start debating, but it's cut off by the full member meeting is ending and they're dispersing. So they kind of have to get out of there. Jake and Cassie go back to the farm because Jake has a plan. Jake's plan is to morph into a lizard and observe Chapman without being noticed. Mm-hmm. And this is the image on the book cover. Is Jake
cover.
Yeah, morphing into a lizard. So I was, like, prepped for lizard to happen. Jake goes and gets the DNA for the lizard, and then the next morning at school, Jake morphs into the lizard in his locker.
Which really also dates this, right? Like,
yes.
I would not have been able to fit into my locker in junior high. That thing was like 12 inches.
Jake turns into a lizard, and that shit is immediately really fucking bad. His brain goes into panic mode. He is terrified to be trapped in this locker. He just wants to skitter around. He is so scared. Everything is like sensory overload. His brain is just panicked. He has zero control over this morph. And then he finally gets outside of this locker. He's skittering around, and he sees a spider, and he knows what is about to occur, and he does not want it to occur, but it does occur. He has no control. He eats the spider.
Jump.
It is disgusting. He is horrified. This is some fucking real, genuine body horror.
Yum, yum, yum. It moves all the way down.
Yeah! I really thought when we got like, because I knew that eventually somebody in a morph was like gonna eat something gross. I thought it was gonna be played off as like funny, you know?
A lot of these things you would expect the books to be funny. Oh, cool, kids with animal powers. But also they're child soldiers, and also they're sharing their brains with instinct, and that's terrifying.
Yes. And this morph fucking haunts Jake. We'll get to it, but he hates this. He is dedicated to never morph into a lizard again. He thinks it is disgusting. He wants out. And then he gets fucking stepped on.
Yeah.
And of course, he has been stepped on by Chapman, who has stepped on his tail. And the tail, it lizards off, and he's like, I'm not going to think about that. So Jake follows him. He's like, okay, right, I'm on a mission. I have the things to do. There's Chapman. I got to follow him. He's following him, thinking that he's going to go to his office. And as they're walking, Jake following him, Jake is trying to figure out, like, how to observe Chapman in his office for several days to get information while also not missing classes and also staying morphed for, like, only 2 hours at a time maximum. He's like trying to puzzle this out, but he doesn't even get to finish those thought processes because Chapman does not go into his office. He goes into a janitor's closet with a secret door in the wall, and the secret door leads to a yerk pool, and people are fucking screaming.
Just starting right off the bat with like, oh, okay.
Jake does not follow this, like, passage to where this yerk pool is. I was kind of confused about,
smart
like...
boy. Good smart boy.
Yeah. Some other people could be taking some notes from Jake later on. We'll get to that. I kind of didn't understand, like, what Jake was seeing. This, like, door to tunnel to yerk pool. There's some moments with K.A. Applegate's writing where it feels like she thinks she is giving much more information than she actually is.
Yeah, I can track that. Yeah.
Cool. I was like, he's seeing what? How does he know it's a yerk pool? Where are the screaming people?
No, there's definitely a couple of points where you're like, I have to read this 2 or 3 times. Am I missing something? Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it works with the chaos and the, like, pacing of the book too.
Yeah, that's true. Jake reports back to the others, and this confrontation with Marco comes to a head, where Marco is called selfish for not wanting to deal with all of this. Rachel points out, like, you're not the only one with a family you care about. I have a family. Like, does that mean nothing to you? Tobias replies to this by saying, not me. I don't have a family. I'm good. So fucking sad. He seems like totally chill about this. He's like, yeah, no, this is fine. I don't have any earthly attachments.
I think he's just really resolved. Like, he was so affected. He's like, I have to do this because, like, we made a promise.
Yeah. This, I still feel like he's in on something. I still don't trust. I trust a little bit more after the end of book 1, but there's something weird going on with Tobias and all of this. Like, he is so eager to jump in a way. There's something weird. Cassie also defends Marco, saying that he's not selfish. And Marco finally gives up the gun on why he has been fighting Jake specifically so hard. And it's because Jake is his best friend. And he knows that if Jake does this, he has to do it too. Mm-hmm. Because it's his best friend, and he's scared for him, and he's worried about him, and he has to fight and protect his best friend. That's so fucking sweet and sad.
Right? I just love that, like, throughout this book, we're like, God damn it, Marco. And then the moment that he's like, all right, these are the stakes. Yeah, no, you fucking idiot. Of course I'm in. God.
Yeah.
Fine.
I did not see that coming at all. Because Marco is, like, kind of a jackass. Like, and he's kind of mean to Jake in that, like, you know, tween
Bros.
boy way.
Yeah.
This was
but he's
so,
also ride or die.
Yes, 1,000,000%. This was so sweet. This, like, really, this hit me. This was good fucking writing. And it was a good emotional reveal that I think it's one of those emotional reveals where you go back and you look at everything and you're like, of course. Of course. Good shit. Good shit.
Yeah.
So then we get the next steps in the plan. Now that they've all kind of resolved, like, we will do this. Marco still waffles a little bit, but, like, they're in. They are going to do 2 things today. They are going to go to the gardens, which is the amusement park that Cassie's mom works at, and they're going to get DNA from some, like, morphs that can actually, like, do something. And then they're also going to go to the sharing tonight and figure out how to try to save Tom. Now, this is maybe because I am 31. Yeah, I'm 31. The idea of doing 2 big things in a night after also doing school, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, these kids are also still doing, like, homework and going to classes. Because if they don't,
I get off of work and I go to the grocery store. That's my night. Like,
right,
I'm
absolutely.
done after that.
But I love that it's not just like, and we're kids and this is a kid's book and so, like, we gotta still be kids. It's if they don't go to fucking classes and do their homework, shit's suspicious.
Right. And also, like, hopefully they will have futures one day and they don't want to fuck up their future.
Right.
And then something that I truly was not ready for happens. And I am going to just put in here the audio from my live reactions. They're gonna need some big shit. Oh my god, title. Oh my god, title. Oh my god, title. Oh my god, they actually call themselves Animorphs in these books? Get out of town. Get out of town. I thought Animorphs was just the title. Oh my god. Okay. I have to screenshot this passage. Holy shit.
Very good.
And if you want the live reactions, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/hughousepodds. You'll find us there. I did not know. I did not know that Animorphs was anything more than the title of the book. I did not know that they called themselves Animorphs. Marco says it as a fucking joke. And then Jake is like, oh yeah, no, that works.
Yeah.
And the bottom of my notes on this page, after I have this screenshot, is in huge text, hello? With 1,000,000 question marks.
It's very good.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it's partially
so funny.
It was definitely, like, partially a marketing thing.
Totally.
For Scholastic, but yeah.
You can't live in a universe with the Power Rangers, which they do, and call yourself the Animorphs, but also, of course you do, but also, come on.
Well, and it's perfect that it's Marco who brings it up, because, like, yes. Marco's the dude who's like, I mean, fuck it, if we're doing this, let's just be superheroes.
Yes. Which Marco, like, does wind up really leaning into. He is definitely, like, our pop culture guru. He's such a Sokka. Oh my god. He, like, is always doing a reference. So it totally makes sense. I also love that it is, like, a lampshaded, very self-aware joke.
Yeah.
That they're calling themselves the Animorphs. That's really good. From that reveal that they're calling themselves the Animorphs, they go to the gardens to get more DNA to morph into, and hijinks ensue, to say the least. So, first, they want to go get Marco some DNA for some big animal that can, like, kick some ass, and they talk about this gorilla whose name is Big Jim. And Cassie is like, don't worry. Gorillas are so super sweet unless they're pissed off, in which case they will kill you in, like, less than a second. But, like, Big Jim is fine.
It'll be fine.
So I don't like primates. I am very scared of gorillas. Not in the way where I'm scared of whales, which is like a full-blown
I was gonna
phobia.
say, I was like, I know how you feel about whales, and I am gonna warn you, you're gonna have some struggles later on in these books.
What? When the fuck are they? Why are they in the water? What?
I will say no more. I'm just saying, prepare yourself. There will be whales.
Oh no! Oh, I'm gonna have such a bad time. I was already like, I can't believe they're doing gorillas.
So am I hosting that book for you instead? This is like Will's Animorphs Vacation, but like, no, thank you, I'm skipping this one.
Bye, peace out. Bye. Can't do it. I'm gonna be so brave. Oh no. So Marco goes in.
No, you're really gonna struggle because that gorilla is gonna be here to stay a lot.
Yeah, I had a feeling. So he gets Big Jim's DNA. That's fine. I'm glad he survived. But then security shows up and they scatter. And Marco and Jake go one way and everybody else goes the other way. And the security follows Marco and Jake. And again, like, we just get into primo fucking hijinks here. They steal a golf cart. They're driving it like shit,
like
trying
Austin
to throw off this guy.
Shit.
Yeah. And Jake falls out at one point. Then they do this very funny, like, slapstick comedy adventure kind of thing where they're trying to escape through these doors. And they open one door and they're like, maybe this is the exit. It's a rhino. It's bad.
Which also would have been a very good one to grab, but when you're face to face suddenly with a rhino, you slam the door.
Now, all of those things that they said about Big Jim and gorillas could apply tenfold to rhinos.
Exactly.
Zookeepers love rhinos. They are like big puppies. They're so sweet. This could have been so chill, but no, we got a gorilla. So they escape into another enclosure, and Jake is like taking stock of the enclosure, right? So he's like, okay, this looks chill. Everything's fine. There are really, 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 really tall concrete walls, and the people visiting are up above those walls looking down in. And immediately I was like, oh, this is a big cat enclosure. Like, I know exactly what this is. And in fact, Jake sits on Tiger. And in my notes, I said, at least it's not a hippo, because a hippo is the scariest thing that you could run into in an enclosure in a zoo. A hippo will kill you without remorse immediately. That being said, also scared of tigers.
Yeah. You're gonna have a time, buddy.
Yeah. This was a roller coaster for me. So
for someone who is so afraid of so many animals,
I know.
You sure chose a book series.
I know. The thing is that I don't think of myself as afraid of animals. Because again, like, I love a lot of creatures that, like, other people are very afraid of. My two older sisters, they were, like, coming of age in the 90s, and they were PETA vegetarians, God. Throwing paint on people. Don't worry, they are better now. I had, like, a vegetarian phase. I've been, like, an animal lover my whole life. I really do not think of myself as somebody who is afraid of a lot of animals, but I absolutely am.
Just, like, having this moment of clarity right now.
Yes, correct. Really like, being confronted by this.
Like, I have 60-something of these books. Uh-oh. All of the things that Visser 3 morphs into, piece of cake. Oh, shit.
Yeah, those are fine.
A whale? Fuck no, I'm noping out of here.
That's so accurate. They are in this enclosure with these tigers, and Jake panics, but he's like, well, I'm here.
I'm already sitting on this tiger.
I might as well. So he gets the tiger DNA. Good on you, Jake. And they have like 10 seconds of tiger trance to escape, because these animals, when you get their DNA, you like connect with them, and you have to have like a sustained connection and focus. And you go into a kind of a trance, the animal goes into a kind of a trance. And so Jake is like, cool, we have like 10 seconds and then we can figure out how to get out of here. But obviously there's another fucking tiger in the enclosure. And so he gets the DNA, they narrowly escape up a ladder. Security sees them, but they blend into the crowd, and they run into the rest of the group, who they're all like having a very normal time.
We had a fun day at the zoo.
Yeah. And Jake is like, we got apprehended. I almost got eaten by a tiger. And Rachel is like, chill.
Sure, well, not only that, she's like, sure, Jan.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm like, that's the thing you can't believe after everything that's happened to you guys the last couple days? The fact that Jake got chased by a tiger and security is the thing you can't believe?
It's so good. I love Rachel.
She's such a bitch. Funny. I love her.
My next note is, still plan on going to try to save Tom tonight. And I said, do they for real plan on like fighting? This was me processing that they had like 2 big plans to do on one night.
Yep.
I like, couldn't believe it. I was like, aren't you so tired?
To be fair, they are in like middle school. And we are in our 30s. So.
Oh. Remember what having energy is like.
Yeah. Wow. Those are the days.
Chapter 21 starts with a passage that is really confusing to me. And I want to talk to you about this because like I feel like there is meaning being conveyed here that I just don't get. So the passage is, Tobias swooped down and perched on Rachel's shoulder. It surprised me a little. Why would Tobias perch on Rachel's shoulder? And she didn't seem at all annoyed. She rubbed her head against him a little. What does this mean? Why? I don't.
So you know that feel when you're a preteen girl and you have a little bit of a crush on your preteen friend boy who is in the form of a bird of prey, and that bird of prey also has a teen boy crush on you?
Oh.
You know, that feel when.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why does Jake think this is strange, though?
Because he's noticing shit. He's like, wait, what's going on? Why is Rachel just like chill with this? And why is she rubbing her face against this bird?
Oh, I guess that's a lot of physical intimacy for like young children of different genders, I guess.
In a bird.
Yeah, okay.
Also in a bird. I think it's mostly just that Jake is observing like, wow, Rachel's already pretty at ease with Tobias in this form. And so he's like clocking some sort of like connection between Rachel and Tobias, which we're also starting to clock. And you see that a lot more in book 2 as well.
Yes.
Which is funny for this like dude that just started hanging out around these kids.
Yeah, very true. That makes so much sense. Thank you. I was like, what the fuck is being conveyed here?
Can you feel that? Anyway.
Oh my god. So what even happens in this chapter? So they have all coalesced, but Cassie is gone. Tobias is already in hog form, and Jake is like, you are spending way too much time. Like, we don't know how long saving Tom is gonna take. Like, what are you doing? And Tobias is like, whoops, I already did it. So Jake is like, fuck it, we're going anyway. Like, I'm ignoring the fact that Cassie is gone, Tobias is hawk. We're fucking doing this. I'm saving my brother. I did not have any predictions about where Cassie was. They go to the Yerk pool. They have no plan. They decide to go in acting like they're already controllers. They have no clue if the controllers know each other on site or like how many of them there are. But they're like, I guess we'll try this. They go in, and of course, they have Cassie.
Well, they see that they have Cassie before they even go in. I think that's part of that's part of why they're like, fuck, okay, well, we're out of time.
Yes. We are now on like chapter 21, 22. There are 27 chapters. I was like, how the fuck is this gonna resolve? And this does start, at least in these first 2 books, a trend I have seen of the Animorphs. They have like a really nice slow build, and then in the last under 10 chapters, they go apeshit. Like,
Zoom. Yeah.
there's like a huge climax at the very end, and then things like wrap up pretty tightly, which again I think is like pretty normal for this kind and this style of book, especially when you are being, you know, workplace exploited in the way that Scholastic did to its writers back then.
Right.
So they follow this tunnel down in through the school, and there is a whole underground city. This is so fucking cool. It's so fucking cool. It's absolutely terrifying. I love shit like this. I love industrial secrets.
It's like half the town.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels very tunnels underneath Disneyland to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I think is very, very cool. So they go in unmorphed. There's a whole underground city. There's like shacks. There's building materials. They are like in process of developing this underground city, and it's huge.
They got fucking like Caterpillar, like people movers, like
yeah.
construction
they have,
machines,
like, tractors and shit.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And there's like taxons and Hork-Bajir just like milling about like they live here in the city, which is again wild. And there's humans in cages around the Yerk pool, so that's not good. They spot Cassie in a cage, and she seems fine in as much as like she is not screaming, she's not injured, she's chilling. And Jake sees her, and Jake, having a crush on Cassie, he's like, "We gotta go now!" And they're like, "Chill, please chill." Please chill. And he's like, okay. And then they watch a woman get unyerked, and the chapter ends with her screaming for help as she is taken to a cage.
Mm-hmm. And the setup is you've got this pool of like lead, like
yes,
like mercury consistency, like liquid mercury consistency liquid, and you have these two piers on opposing sides of it. And so like, you know, you just have like controllers just calmly walking out to the edge of the pier, and then like a Hork-Bajir will hold them while they bend down and turn their head and then drop the Yerk into the, you know, the Yerk like oozes out of their freaking ears into the pool, and then suddenly they're being held by like you just wake up and you're being held by this monster, and you have free will again, and it's like, cool, time to go back into your cage.
Yeah. Literal fucking nightmare.
Meanwhile, you're watching across the Yerk pool people getting re-yerked.
Yes. Like, you're
immediately seeing the cycle of what's about to happen to you again. It is the setup of it is infinitely horrendous. It's not like there's separate rooms for it. They're just literally across the pond from each other.
Yeah. I have seen a lot of horror, and this is special.
Yeah, it like the way that like the Yerks completely dehumanize and create like psychological horror in this whole process too is really fascinating.
Really fascinating, really fucked up. They really like they don't sugarcoat it. They don't pull punches at all.
Oh.
How did she get away with this? Like, was Scholastic just like,
she used a pen name so everyone thought that she was a man.
Whoa.
That's why it's credited as K.A. Applegate.
I thought that's just what she... Whoa. I thought that's just what she went by. Whoa.
No. And Michael Grant, her husband, is like basically uncredited in it. Like, they fully wrote these together.
That explains so much and is so fucked up.
It was at a time, just like with, you know, as much as I hate to bring her up, J.K. Rowling, right?
That's like, right.
She didn't go by J.K., but you're in a moment of publishing where if you have a male protagonist or anything other than just 100%, you know, a female protagonist, the publishing companies are going to say, but boys aren't going to want to read this if it's written by a woman.
Good God.
So let's give you some initials and obscure that fact.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a marketing tactic.
Wow. Even still, like, I am shocked that they would let anybody get away with the severity of horror here in a book for kids. It does make a lot more sense now that I realize, like, oh, they made it seem like it was written by a man.
Yeah, these are books for boys, which
cool.
nobody really ascribed to, but
in chapter 23, we get this term collaborators, which are willing hosts of Yerks. They are people who go totally willingly. And there is this discussion of like, why would people ever do that? That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. And over here, I'm like, I don't know. Sounds like a pretty sweet deal.
does it come with free housing?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And like, I do think that, you know, there's not a lot of time for conversation for this here, but it does give some little like, it's planting some seeds about like, what makes people this desperate for power and willing to believe these promises and give up parts of themselves for that power. What drives people to that? We do get more of that in book 2, but I think this is a really fascinating place to start.
Yeah.
So Cassie is about to get yerked, and Jake notices that Tom is not with the collaborators. Oh my god, because the collaborators are like,
they're fucking watching
spectators.
TV.
Yeah. This
they're watching
feels
TV
very
and
like
hanging out.
public execution-y. Like, they are watching people get unyerked and yerked and all of this, and they're like, yay, fun time, entertainment. Fucked up.
They're not even really watching that. They're watching TV while this is all happening in the background. That makes it so much more blasé.
Oh my god, I don't think I even realized that. That's so fucked.
So, I mean, this is such a good metaphor for, like, standing by and just watching inequity and oppression happening, but not caring about it because you have privilege.
Yeah, like,
and that's
what genocide? I'm watching young Sheldon.
Exactly. This is the horror of the collaborators. This is the horror of what, you know, what Elfangor was talking about with Taxons. Is like,
that makes
they're
sense.
not, you know, it's not like, it's one thing to be like, and I'll do this because it will save somebody in my life. It's another thing to be like, well, I'm getting this, and I'm not really paying attention to the woman screaming in a cage 3 feet from me.
Wow.
Because it's not directly affecting me right now.
Wow.
It's not like they're in a separate room. They're fully cogent to what is happening with this invasion. That's
some Ray Bradbury shit.
Yep.
Wow. Fuck yeah, this series rules.
Yeah.
They see that Tom is not a collaborator, which is super important. He is not with the others. And then they are spotted by the Hork-Bajir controllers. They're about to be apprehended, but Rachel got behind them and she's about to morph, and then shit just starts hitting the fan because Cassie is about to get yerked. She is like being held. They are like ready to put that little guy in her. So they start morphing. Rachel turns into a fucking elephant, which is cool as hell. She gets slashed, but she takes down this Hork-Bajir controller. Jake turns into a tiger. He loves it. Chaos ensues. It is mayhem. I am not somebody who like cares very much about like combat and like fight scenes. So this whole thing, I was just kind of like, they're doing shit. They're doing shit.
But it is really interesting to just see how quickly it goes into not just like, and kids fighting and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we're tearing apart Taxons.
Oh, yeah.
Like, these kids are immediately having to do several murders.
Yes. Very graphic, grisly murders. Like, there is viscera.
Yeah.
I know that there's a sense of desensitization here. I think that this pulls on how inhuman these aliens are, that like, it's kind of like when you're playing a video game and there's just like stock enemy character that like your brain turns off the part that's like, this is a being with like a family. You know, like, you turn off the murder part of your brain?
Put a pin in this.
Oh, no.
We're gonna really investigate what it feels like to do this shit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like you have to, like, you have to, in some ways, like, skim over this for plot, but I will just say, especially when we start getting to the Cassie books.
Oh, I bet.
You're gonna really feel the consequences of their new life.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. I I really anticipated that like the horrors of war were mostly going to apply when they were having to deal like with controllers and like other human people. That's fascinating. Oh, I'm so excited. So all of this mayhem is happening. They start breaking the cages open. Tom gets out. And Cassie needs help right fucking now. So the others help protect the escaping humans from these cages. Tobias is helping from above in hawk form. Cassie escapes. Jake runs to help her while everybody else is helping the other escaping humans. He gets Cassie out and she escapes for long enough to morph into a horse, which is great because like, let's get the fuck out of there. Two people jump on Cassie's horseback and she's like, yeah, let's go. And then Visser 3 shows up. And something fascinating, he thinks they're Andalites. And he is like, I killed you all. What the fuck? He clearly has a lot of stake in all of the Andalites being dead. And he doesn't even think for a moment that they're humans with Andalite technology because that doesn't seem to be a thing, like, at all. He just assumes that they're Andalites. I had no clue. That's really interesting.
What else would they be?
Humans with Andalite technology. You know, like they are. But like, no, that totally makes sense. Like, this is an Occam's razor situation. Of course he thinks they're Andalites. He's pissed. He didn't like this one bit. So he starts morphing. And again, he's morphing into some other, like, eldritch horror. It's fucked up. It's a big, scary thing. My next note is, how is this going to resolve in 2 chapters? So, second to last chapter, Visser 3 is in this eldritch horror mode. He starts chucking fireballs at them. I didn't know that was on the table. Everything is super bad. They are running up these stairs to escape. And almost all of the humans are being recaptured. Like, they are not getting these people out of here at all.
Including a couple of the free Hork-Bajir.
Yes, that's right. Oh my god.
There were also Hork-Bajir running up the stairs with them.
Wow, I didn't even include them here. That's shitty.
You don't know them yet. It's fine.
Jake sees Tom, and Tom starts fighting back.
Hell yeah,
and he
Tom.
gets hit. Yeah, good job, Tom. He gets hit and he falls off the stairs. And I really fucking thought he was dead. I was like, oh my god, he just fell to his fucking death. He is dead. He's not dead. He just gets taken again. But Jake loses his shit. He is in tiger mode still, and he leans in and he chomps the fuck out of Visser 3. And Visser 3 is like, wow, ow. This rules. I'm so happy for Jake. Jake is so restrained. So often. He like really does not let himself indulge in like anything. And so for him to see this and just go, nah, fuck it, and lean in and chomp the shit out of
And instinctively knows to bite him on the back of the neck because of the tiger instincts. Fucking sick.
It's so good.
I also really love that Tom is like just running around like with his fists, and he's like, and he literally calls Visser 3 like, you filthy creep. Like, yeah, I fucking love you, Tom.
Yeah, very good. This whole moment is like, it's in the midst of them pretty arguably like failing, but it's so cathartic. It's so cathartic for Jake to finally just unleash on this shit. The closest we've gotten before is Jake punching Marco in the face, but that's different because it's like he's in this denial mode, you know? Whereas here he is like, it's just such a good embrace. Fucking ruled. Really good moment. So they do escape. Cassie is okay. The only human they saved was one of the 2 humans riding on Cassie's back. We don't know what happened with that person, but they escaped. The other person who's riding on their back gets fireballed off, so that sucks. And then Jake goes home. And then we're on our final chapter. So, huge ramp up, and then they go home, which is like, that's also the structure of book 2.
Final chapters, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages.
And they are quite some pages. So Jake is home. Tobias goes to check on him. And Tobias is in hawk mode. And he's like, yeah, things went. It's things. We're here now. And Jake is like, you should turn back into a person. And Tobias is like, so about that. And he is already a fucking forever hawk. Leigh, I thought this was a spoiler for like 20 or 30. I couldn't believe my mind. I was like yelling. I was like yelling out loud. That's crazy. This is book 1 that this happens?
This is book 1, baby.
That's unreal. That's unreal. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It took him so little time.
Yep.
To just be like, yeah, this is fine.
I guess this is me from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And come on, Tobias, morph back. You can stay here. I'll even let you have the bed. I could slip on nails. I'm so tired. He didn't say anything. And I guess in my heart, I'd known it all along. I just didn't want to admit it. Come on, Tobias, morph back.
That, oh my god. Like, I don't even, the feelings in my body are like new feelings. This is such a specific kind of mourning. This is wild writing. That's so fucking sad. And like, the whole book is absolutely leading you to expect this to happen. But I really did not think this was going to happen at the end of book 1. That is so tragic. That's so wild.
My sad boy!
That's so sad. And he is so fine with it. He's so here for it. So I don't know what the ramifications of this are going to be like. Like, I don't think it's going to be good. I'm so excited and scared and my heart's not ready. So that's book 1. So needless to say, I fucking love this so far. Yes. I am having the time of my life.
I'm
it's
so
so
pleased.
Fun. It's so different than what I was expecting. Like everybody has said, you know, these books are so dark, they're so intense, they're so crazy. But I still had in my brain kind of an asterisk of like, for kids books. But like this is playing in very serious genre space. Like it's not sugarcoated. It's not watered down. These, you know, they read like books for kids, but they act like very serious horror and sci-fi. And like I didn't engage with a lot of media for kids growing up. I just didn't have a lot of that exposure. I grew up with a lot of media for adults. And I grew up reading a lot of Ray Bradbury. I grew up watching horror films. Like, had I not been dissuaded from reading these books because somebody thought they were like embarrassing, I would have loved them so fucking much.
Yeah.
I am so sad I'm only coming to them in adulthood. I'm really glad to be reading them now. It makes me feel even more like good about this being a New Year's resolution and committing to this podcast. Thank fuck.
Yeah.
I could not have expected how seriously dark these books are immediately.
I mean, I think the thing to remember is that, like, yeah, the angle that everybody thinks about is that these are books about turning into animals. But what they really are is these are books about war.
Yes.
They are books about war. And that is the way that the characters are going to be interfacing with the world and the way that we're going to be interfacing with these characters. And that actually becomes a big thing in terms of the way that like the end of the series is perceived. That the end of the series was very controversial for a lot of people. And K.A. Applegate was like, I don't know what to tell you. This is a story about war.
Ooh.
So,
that's
you know,
exciting.
Yeah, like, you know, speaking, like, it just, you know, she's always been very, very adamant about, like, this is a story about kids in a fucking war. So, like, buckle in, buddies.
Yeah. Wow. What a fucking start to a series. I'm very impressed.
Yes. I'm so happy. I was very nervous. I'm always really nervous when somebody dives in because I'm like, oh, how will you feel?
Yeah, I can see this being divisive.
It's so validating to be like, yes, they do hold up and they are sick as fuck. And they
Yes.
have so much depth to them for
They
184 pages.
Yeah, unreal. I'm blown away. I can't wait to keep reading. I blew through book 2 over the weekend. I'm gonna, I think, wait until we were planning on recording for both 1 and 2 today. That's obviously not gonna happen. I'll probably wait until we've recorded for book 2 to read book 3.
Book 3,
and
yeah.
I don't want to.
I know. I'm literally sitting here with book 3. And I'm like, shit. I grabbed my books and I was reading them. I was reading the first one on the train, like over a couple of days, like little bits. And then yesterday I went to a reptile show and then got back at like 4 p.m. and finished reading the second half of book 1 and then just read all of book 2 yesterday from like 5 p.m. to like 9 p.m.
Amazing.
I'm like, oh, this brings me back. Sitting on my couch reading an entire Animorphs book. So
that's so lovely.
Yeah. Good shit.
Before we get into a very special section I've decided I'm gonna do at the end of each recording, do you have any questions for me?
I mean, I feel like I would love to see from you, as this develops, some sort of like segment of like your own predictions.
Yeah.
And kind of write them down and track them and see where you are with things. I think that would be really fascinating, especially since you're going to have a bunch of people come in who know the series.
Yes.
I think that would be really fun. Like, I would love to just off the top of your head, like hear a couple of like your grandiose thoughts of like large scale predictions of what you think will happen.
Sure. So the primary one off the top of my head that I don't think is right, but I do feel very strongly about is, again, I really don't trust the Andalites. Like, I don't trust them. I don't trust that they came down and did this to a bunch of fucking children. I don't think that Prince Elfangor like really had a concept that they were children necessarily, but like, I don't know. I think that they are I think they've been depicted as like way too sweet, way too good, way too perfect. I don't trust that. They are I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I think that there is something going on with the Andalites and Tobias specifically. Like, I don't know if the Andalite, if Prince Elfangor, like if he just clocked that Tobias had like outsider vibes and was like, "Ooh, I can prey on that." I don't know what's going on there. But I feel like we are going to get more about that at some point. I feel like there's a lot more that Tobias has not told the others and therefore has not told us. I'm excited to read this next book knowing that it's his POV. I think we're going to see some more conflict at some point between Cassie and Rachel, because we have not seen any conflict between them yet. I don't think that this is going to be a series that leans into like girls necessarily having conflict with each other, but I think that Cassie is going to struggle with some of the intensity and logic driven decision making that Rachel has exhibited so far. Rachel can be kind of detached, and she can be kind of cold in this book, at least. And she can also be she's very analytical and she's very quick to make decisions. And we've seen Cassie
she's very analytical while at the same time being dangerously impulsive.
Yes. Which we'll get into more in book 2. Oh my God. Cassie, meanwhile, she's very patient. She's very empathetic. She really can see other people's perspectives and work through those and justify them and talk through them with people. I think we're going to have some tension between those two. I absolutely think that Marco's mom is going to show up at some point. Anytime a body isn't found, I don't fucking trust that. I don't trust it. I think she's going to show up. I think she's going to be a big, scary, big bad, and it's going to be a horrible moment for Marco. I think I'm gonna throw a prediction out here that I don't think I'm like married to, but I think I'm gonna throw it out there. I think Jake is gonna have to kill Tom.
All right.
I think that this book will do that to me. I think these will do that to me. I also hope that we'll see more development in this little cute romance sort of between Jake and Cassie. It seems a little bit one-sided right now that like Jake has a crush and Cassie just seems kind of oblivious to it. But Cassie is really good at reading people and she's very smart and she's very, again, empathetic. So like I wouldn't be shocked if she is aware of this and like doesn't know what to do with it. So hopefully we'll see more of that. And I'm going to make some Tobias predictions here about Permahawk. I don't trust that he is going to be cognizant as like human brain through the end of this series. We have not really gone into depth about what it means to be permanently in that morph.
Mm-hmm.
But we have already seen that like it can be kind of hard to control your brain. Tobias really likes being a hawk and having hawk brain. I would not be shocked if slowly Tobias is even like his consciousness like becomes hawk and he completely loses his human self and is gone. Hopefully that's not the case because that's really fucking sad. But again, knowing this series so far, I would not be shocked.
Yeah. Do you think we will meet any other significant aliens?
Oh, certainly. I think we'll probably meet like other big bad aliens. They keep referencing that the Andalites are like going to come back someday and save them. But I really think that like all the Andalites are dead. So we might meet like one or two more. If they show up, I think that they are going to bring the message that they are like the last of their kind and everybody is dead and these humans are like on their own. And I don't think they're going to be long for this world, but I could be wrong. And then I'm going to throw out some crazy predictions off the cuff that I am forming as I speak out loud.
This is what I wanted.
Uh-huh.
You should do this as a segment and we should come up with a name for it.
Yeah, perfect. I will. Well, I'll have to brainstorm a name. If you have any thoughts, let me know.
I will.
So I know that there's going to be whales, and I know Rachel at one point when they're in the zoo is like, I want to become a dolphin. And they're like, Rachel, literally why? Like, under what circumstances? And I do know that another book cover has somebody turning into a starfish because that's really fucked up looking, like especially fucked up looking.
That's a Rachel book.
Rachel!
That's a really fucked up Rachel book.
I bet. Rachel, you dolphin girl. I think that, okay, sure. I think that the Yeerk pool is going to get fucked up and the Yeerks have to rehome to a new Yeerk pool and they are going to try to turn the ocean into a Yeerk pool. That's my theory of why there's the ocean involved.
Okay.
I don't think that's it at all, but maybe.
I could throw some really curveball questions out at you that you would have no idea have any context. What's your favorite breakfast food?
Oh, I am a huge, I love a fried egg. I love a fried egg on sourdough toast. I think that it's lovely. I actually just made breakfast for dinner last night. It was so good. I made like a huge thing of beautiful scrambled eggs with peppers in it and onions and green onions and cheese. And I made us hash brown patties and bacon. It was so good. I love breakfast. I am so scared about why you're asking me this.
The listeners will know. The listeners will know. No context for you. Just
no context.
Just wanted to ask.
Any others?
How do you feel about dogs?
I like dogs.
Cool. You're gonna like dogs even more. It's gonna be good.
Okay, that's good. I like dogs.
Yeah, good news.
We've got our last segment, which I've decided to call NOWVERMORPH.
I love it.
If you had to morph into an animal right now, what would it be?
I mean, it's some sort of bird. I want to fly.
Yeah.
I want to fly. Listen, you can't grow up with these books without forever being changed by the concept of thermals.
It's so true. They talk about thermals so often, and I'm like, God, that does sound really
like we
nice.
don't get into it in book 1, but you start off book 2.
Yeah.
You now forever know what a thermal is, which is a warm updraft of air that makes it easier for a bird to fly and just soar and glide. And it just seems like so much fun. And I have a lot of friends all over the world. I'd love to be able to just fly and travel and go do that kind of shit. Some sort of bird.
Oh my God,
some
that's
sort
so
of bird
true.
would be real nice. I would love to be an owl. I think that'd be really cool.
I would totally go vulture without thinking and then realize what that meant and then be like, oh no.
Carrion.
I would have a real lizard spider moment.
I can't wait for you to read book 3.
Oh my God. Oh no. Oh. Okay. Putting a pin in that. If I were to morph right now, I would, this is going to be a boring one, but it's okay. It's my first one. I would morph into a cat, specifically one of my 2 cats, and specifically because earlier this winter, this is our first winter all together in a cold, snowy place. We all lived in Arizona before. Partners have lived in cold areas, but this is our first cold place all together as a household. And we own a house, which is insane. And I never thought I would do. And we decided that our first year all together for Christmas for the household, we would get a kotatsu. Leigh, do you know what a kotatsu is?
I do know what a kotatsu is.
A kotatsu, for those who don't know, for the people out there who are not weebs.
This is my reference.
Yeah. It is a Japanese table where the tabletop comes off. You put a blanket, like a comforter, down, put the tabletop back on. So you have like table legs, blanket, tabletop, and underneath the table is a gentle heating element. It is so fucking cozy. These bitches are really hard to get in the States. I looked for them forever, and there were even like Reddit posts of being like, I am here from Japan, I moved to the States, where the fuck can I get a kotatsu? And people being like, you can't. Like, you have to build one.
Oh no.
And then out of nowhere, they popped up on Amazon. And then there were Black Friday deals, and I'm very sorry. Like, Amazon is evil, but we got it.
Yeah.
Is the moral of the story. And a trope in what I thought was just like anime is cats being obsessed with the kotatsu. Can confirm that is real life. Our cats are obsessed with it. We recently like washed the duvet cover that was on the comforter, so the kotatsu wasn't on during that process, and the cats were fucking furious with us. They were acting out. They were horrible. And then we put the comforter back on, and they went back to normal. Like, it's ridiculous. So right now, this very moment, I would morph into one of my 2 cats, and I would go under that kotatsu, and I would just sleep.
Hell yeah.
So nice.
I mean, I know that Jake hated being a lizard, but I'm a reptile person, and I would love to be my bearded dragon and just sun myself on a rock. I would love to just like chill and bask and like absorb some lovely heat from a delightful rock. Right?
That sounds so
That
good.
sounds so good. Like, I would like to be a bigger lizard so it's not so much, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, I'm prey, oh god, I pray, oh god. But
yeah,
I'd love to just sun myself on a rock. I mean, it's the same, you know, cats and lizards, they got it going on. Like, just find a nice sunny patch and you're happy.
Yeah. I do think it's very telling that, like, you know, these books have some element of power fantasy of like, be this big, cool thing. And I'm like, I would like a nice nap.
Right. Like, can I just get a break for a little while?
Yeah.
Speaking as 2 people who don't overwork themselves making things at all.
Hey, remember that story about how I did all of my history classes early in summer school so I could take more electives? And with that, I think we will close out at 3 hours, 10 minutes of raw audio here.
Jesus Christ.
Leigh, thank you so much for joining me on this this first episode of Nevermorphed, it feels wild to have actually recorded. I can't wait to have you on to discuss the second book, which we will schedule a recording for soon.
I'm so excited. This is so much fun, and it gives me an excuse to dive in and reread the books again. And the second that you release this, I'm just gonna, with absolutely no context or forewarning, just drop it to like my cousin.
Hell yeah! Hell
like,
yeah! I
guess
love
what?
that.
Yeah, it's. I'm really excited to talk about book 2 with you. I'm really excited to talk about some of the later books in the series. I've already plugged them in my in my request form. Like, you know, hey, you better have me on to talk about this book, and this book, because I have feelings.
I can't wait to see where this series goes. And until next time, this is the tagline I've decided on, I suppose. Get morphin'.
Nevermorphed is hosted, edited, and produced by Will Williams. Our theme music is The Chase by Joey Hendricks. Our title is by Eddie Feely, and this podcast would not exist without Mike Schubert's podcast, Potterless and the Newest Olympian. You can find his works at shub.es, that's shub.es. Nevermorphed is a proud member of Hug House Productions. You can find more at hughouse.productions and follow us on Tumblr at Nevermorphed. Get morphin'! On March 27th, 2024, Elon Musk was deposed in a libel lawsuit filed by Ben Brody. Musk's lawyer, Alex Spiro, tried to retroactively mark the deposition as confidential, but it wasn't.
Of course I can ask him, do you think you committed actual malice? Do you think you were reckless? Of course I can ask those questions.
The deposition is a new Hug House podcast reenactment of the entire deposition, word by word, in full, taken very seriously.
Things that he did wrong.
But that's the point. That's not what you're allowed
Until he really just can't anymore?
Not what you're allowed to do in the deposition. You can't just get him talking.
The deposition drops on the 4th of July, 2024, with 4 weekly episodes. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice or find us at hughouse.productions today.